Wait till you see what I'm inspired by this week. Right, hello, happy Sunday. So I want to show you one of my new favorite obsessions. There's always a new obsession, let me tell you. So recently I was watching one of Robin McClendon's YouTube videos, and she uses a lot of circles in her collages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, that's beautiful. So I started this whole, circle obsession, but I can't draw circles. And I decided I needed to find something that was going to create beautiful circle shapes with, not so much difficulty. Look at like these. I'm loving these, absolutely loving them, doing them on the gel plate, printing them, creating elements for my collages. And I think they're absolutely beautiful. I love that. This is some more mark making, and there's another circle. So these elements is what I'm going to show you today, how I create them. So much fun. You won't believe where I actually get the templates from. You may think I'm a little crazy, but that's okay. As long as you know that we're all good. So here they are here again also. Loving them. Absolutely loving them. So this is what we're going to be creating today. So my secret weapon are these here. They're beautiful little circle shapes. They're actually made of rubber, perfect size. See, this is what has made these prints here, and I'm loving them. So do you want to know the secret? Da-da-da-da-da! You have to go to the plumbing area of your local hardware store, and this is called Fixaloo. Yes, I'm telling you that I'm using washers that you put in the cistern of your toilet for printing on the gel plate. I know, right? Don't tell anyone. Seriously, they'll think I'm crazy. Fixaloo seating washer. They are fabulous. Absolutely amazing. Plumbing section of your hardware store, that's where you need to go. So clearly these ones I've used, not in the toilet, but on the printing. I have used these already. They make the fabulous circle shapes that at the moment I am totally loving. So I'm going to show you what I do with them, how I create some jelly prints, and how I make these beautiful elements for my collage papers. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be very messy. Just, don't tell everyone that I'm using washers that you put in a toilet seat for my jelly printing. Now, the thing I love the most about jelly printing is the experimentation. So I'm just going to slap some paint around, throw some shapes on the gel plate, take some prints, and see where we get. Don't be stressed out if I use too much paint, make too much mess, or am a little crazy, because that's actually how I love to use the jelly plate. It is fantastic for experimentation. Paint's on the plate. Going to put my beautiful toilet washers on here. Now, as you can see, I'm not lining them up perfectly, because what I like to do is to create elements for my collage painting. So I will rip these up most probably and put them into collage. So don't get stressed out that they're not lining up straight or that it's not perfect, because that's not what I'm all about. I'm about experimentation. Let's try and see what this does, and let's bounce off those ideas and create other ones. Now, this is absolutely plain standard copy paper. As you can see, I'm pushing them into the circle and around the circles just to get some of that paint on there. The circles will act like a mask shape, stopping the paint from going in the places of that circle. So, this is a beautiful way to start. And I say it's a start because then you want to keep creating layers. So this creates a mask with the circles and it leaves those shapes. Now I'm going to let this dry and then we're going to come back and have another experiment with this particular paper after it's dried. So then we take the beautiful circles off. Trust me, you're going to grow to love these circles. And take the ghost print. Look how fabulous that is looking already. I'm just going to take the ghost print with some white tissue paper. Remember, I'm just creating collage papers for elements to put in my collages, as I showed you in my art journals or on canvases or in books or whatever the project is I'm working on. These make absolute fabulous collage elements. So there is the gorgeous circles that I can then add to create more layers on to put in the collage. Now what I like to do is have quite a few pieces of background prints that are floating around my studio that I can use at any time to create another layer on. I'm constantly printing on the gel plate. I love it. I find it de-stresses me. It's fabulous. And a lot of the time, you just want to create without thinking too much. This is a perfect exercise for not stressing, just creating, because you're just putting shapes on the plate and you know you're going to use it for collage paper. So no stress, no hassle. So here is a background piece of paper that's floating around the studio. I've got quite a few of them in different stages, because what I find is whatever I'm printing at the moment, like I might be using different stencils or different shapes or experimenting with things like these circles. And I find if I add them onto other backgrounds, it just creates more marks and more textures. And sometimes you create beautiful things you wouldn't have thought of just because you allowed yourself to experiment. Beautiful. Love that. That's going to be really cool. Actually, you know what would look really nice with that? We might come back to that and throw some more paint on that later, because that would look really good. I might just pull this while it's still wet. What I love about these beautiful round circles is because they're made of like very thin rubber. They pull off the plate easy, they go down easy. I can throw them around, I can pile them full of paint, and they just handle it. See how we're getting multiple impressions now of the circles with this tissue? Because I've just created more paint on top of the previous prints. That's really fun. Love that. You never quite know how it's going to pull up. There we go. Look at that. So that's pulled up with multiple print impressions of the circles because I just added paint on top of the previous prints, and the ghost print has now pulled that off the plate. That's fabulous. I love it. It's just beautiful. I'm using standard white tissue. It's just, you know, from the dollar shop probably, and it works really well, especially pulling up the ghost prints off the plate. I'm just loving these fabulous circles right now. Of course, you know, it'll change. I won't always be obsessed with them. But right now, I am. I'm just making this bronze a tiny weeny bit darker because I'm going to put it over a different background. I personally love the abstract shapes of not completely blending the color on the plate. That's just me. I really like that. Of course, you don't have to line them up perfect each time. You can put them all sorts of ways on the plate. You get 10 of these circles in the pack, so, you know, it's pretty good value. It's only a couple of dollars. So this is my background. It's got a text stencil on some Chinese paper. I love going over textured backgrounds with these because they just are amazing. The shapes that it makes and the clarity of the circle. If you give it a good rub. This is quite soft paper. It's very absorbent. It's Chinese. I think it's Chinese like calligraphy paper for when you're practicing because it's got lines on it. My son came to visit. He's living in Shanghai, so he brought it home. He didn't know what the heck he had, but I said, bring me paper. So so being the dutiful son, he did. So look at that. That just creates really interesting shapes. You can see how the text stencil is in the shape of the circles, and that would look really cool in collage. Of course, the ghost print is always my favorite. I think it's because the mystery of the unknown, how it's going to look. And I love putting the ghost print on white tissue because it pulls everything up so successfully. And it's always good for collage because it just adds another element. And especially as the tissue can become transparent in collage, it just looks absolutely fabulous. Look at that. That is just fun. So now that's got the circle colors and a little bit of the scripting, the text stencil there. That's fun. That'd be fabulous in a collage. I just love it. So once you get on a roll, baby, I'm telling you, you just can't stop. I'm using a golden iridescent bronze fine. I love this color. It's one of my absolute favorite colors. There's a little bit of black still on the plate, so it's making it an even deeper antique kind of bronze, which is fun. And you can see from my glorious circles that I have used it quite a bit as they're still covered. Love this color. I love it with the warm tones. And I'm going to put this one on this background because I think it'll be fabulous. Some of these backgrounds are actually prints that didn't come out as great as I'd hoped, and I put them in a pile and I just use them again then when I'm printing something else. Don't get discouraged if your prints, you know, the first time don't work. Just put them in a pile ready to be used for a second or even third layer, and then they make incredible prints. You just have to allow yourself to have fun, to play and to experiment and see what you can create. There we go. So there's that beautiful colors come through and it's got the bronze around them and they look fabulous. So the ghost print is still picking up some images of previous printing, and that is so much fun. What I like to do once I've pulled them off the plate, sometimes I like to give them a bit of a spray with some spray ink just to kind of create more texture on them, give them a bit more interest. Now this one is a Tim Holtz spray ink black marble. It's pretty fun. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I mean, oops, sometimes it's a bit of an oops, but sometimes you create the most amazing effects. Now, if you don't have any of the fancy pants Tim Holtz spray inks, because sometimes here in New Zealand, these American imports get quite expensive. I buy these from the dollar shop, these bottles. I get them in a pack of like, you know, a couple of bucks and you get 3, and then I'll put in it whatever ink I've got in my cupboard at the time, which is usually something. And I find that, look at that, flipping amazing. You can make your own spray inks. The dollar shop will get you a few of these bottles, and then you just put in whatever inks you want. I find that really helpful, especially if I want to use up inks that I already have that I bought at some stage and then I haven't used for a while, especially good for that. Because again, then you're more likely to experiment if you're using up some of your art supplies that's been sitting in a drawer for a while. Fabulous idea. So make your own spray inks, absolutely fabulous. You can use whatever colors you want. Otherwise, pull out your Tim Holtz or whatever brands. Actually, I just told you it was Tim Holtz and it's not. It's Dilutions. I do have a Tim Holtz one, but I picked up the wrong one. So there you go. That's a good one too. I love it. Here's the Tim Holtz one. Distress Mica Spray. Yes, hello, we love it. Loving it. Loving it sick. See how it just creates that extra layer of color on the gel print. It's absolutely fabulous. They dry beautiful, gorgeous. Got to get yourself some of this. But if you don't have any, make your own. There's always solutions for everything. This one's pretty nice. Comes in a 3-pack. I get it from the Stationery Warehouse, which is just a 5-minute walk away, baby. Right. What else are we going to do with these beautiful circles? Of course, when you put your circle shapes on your plate to make your print, you can also use them as a stamp, which I totally love. So if I put them on, oops, they're getting a bit sticky because I'm coating them in paint. Now, put them on like this, and yay, they take a beautiful, let's take the print, okay. We'll stick it over this background. You can just never have too many circles at the moment. All right, so that looks beautiful with the bronze and the warm tones. Loving it. So then what you can do is use the beautiful shapes for, creating a stamp mark. Now I have found personally they don't tend to have enough paint on them to really create a substantial mark. So I'm going to show you what I do with that. But first of all, I just want to pull this. What about if we threw some spray on it first? Oh yeah, that's a bit of the Dilutions. Get the right name this time on there. So I'm going to pull that with a piece of rice paper. Oh, let's just throw a bit more on. This one's the Tim Holtz one, which is sadly coming to an end. Oh man. So I threw a bit of the spray ink on there, the Dilutions Black Marble, I think it is. Yep, black marble. Oh yeah, that's pretty fun. Look at that. See, I just threw some of the spray ink on there before I pulled the print. That looks great. Loving it. Righto. So anyway, I was showing you, before I got carried away, that these make fabulous stamps. So I find I am quite heavy-handed with my paint, so using them from the plate as a stamp isn't quite enough for me personally. It might be an enough impression for you, but not so much. So I will paint the beautiful little circle like that and then use it as a stamp on a background of some sort. This is just a piece of ordinary copy paper, I think. Ta-da! No, you can't see it very well. It wasn't a great example. And what I've found, because I'm putting quite a nice layer of paint on there, I love that. See, I've already been playing with this idea. And then you put it on like a stamp. And hello, takes a beautiful impression. There's two that I just did before when I was playing around. And what I find is as you use the circles, it's building up a subtle texture of paint on the rubber. So this is this one that's been used quite a few times. And this, of course, is the surface of the original piece of rubber. See how smooth that is? Well, over time of using it, it becomes quite textured with the paint layers, and that's what creates a really nice stamp impression. So it's pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty cheap way of getting a circle stamp, I'm telling you. Just don't tell anybody where you got them from and you'll be fine. See, look, I'm loving it. Sick. That is absolutely fabulous. Put it on like that. And look at that, look at that. Now, okay, they might not be perfect. You might want more of a perfect circle, but I really like this. I like this look. I like the texture of it. I like the prints that they pulled. This is exactly how I did these circles here. I created the collage, put it all together, and then I put the paint on the circle and stamped it straight onto my page. I absolutely love this. I think it's flipping stunning, absolutely stunning. Think they're totally gorgeous. Now I'll show you how I did these ones. So I did it similar. I took the print of the circle, but beforehand I had printed them. We could get a little more dramatic and make the prints a little darker. Yes, I do love me a bit of drama. So depending on what background paper you're putting your circles on, they will be so incredibly unique and different. It's quite amazing. And once you start experimenting, I'm telling you, you'll be as obsessed as I am. Truly you will. All right, so I'm throwing my circles on. Yay. I'm going to try this very dramatic background. This has got a layer of stencil. It had a background color and then a layer of stencil. And it's very patterned. So that pattern should be now in a circle shape, which could look very, very cool. You know, don't stress out if it doesn't or if something doesn't work. Just try another idea. Just keep moving. Allow yourself to create, because that's the beauty of jelly printing. Such an incredible freedom of creativity and experimentation. Oh, dramatic. Love me some drama. Look at those. Beautiful, stunning. I would probably rip them out and use them as elements in collage, like separate elements. I think that'd be really cool. We could even throw some silver spray across that and give it a bit of a shimmer. That'd be really nice too, which I would do if my bottle wasn't empty. So now we've got all this drama of the black on there. Let's see how that prints. What I love about using the white tissue is that you can add it to your collage. You can add an element or a layer on top because it goes quite transparent, so you can still see different elements and different techniques underneath. And the beauty of collage is multiple layers. So this just gives you a lovely pile of papers that you can use when you're doing your collage. And I just love having that. Look at that. That is just fun. That is just fun. Look at that. So that's the bronze with a bit of black Liquitex, Mars black, and the golden bronze iridescent. That's all those two colors. It's on there. And our beautiful circle shapes. It really is quite endless what you can do with these fabulous circle shapes. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to experiment, using your imagination and having some fun. It's got to be fun. If it was not fun, I don't want to play. Righto. I've got another piece of paper I'm going to try an idea with. Put on my beautiful shapes. Oh yeah, that's pretty dramatic. Look at that. Oh, that must have been the other side. So I must have used this one here, the paint must have been up, and these ones, the paint must have been down. So what about if I add a bit more texture on it? Doing that. Would that do? Oh look, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. That works. Let's do something else. See, you gotta try. So we know that's gonna work. They're getting a bit sticky now, but don't worry about that. I'm gonna lay the shapes down. They take a nice little print. That one didn't. Boring. I don't know, we'll try something else. They don't have enough paint on them, or they're getting a bit dry. So let's put them down. And what about if we spray the spray ink? So, oops, let's spray some that on it and see what it does. It's all about seeing what it does, right? Oh, that looks pretty cool. So that just creates more texture. Look how different they all have printed. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. So I need to print that onto, let me get some of the white tissue, because then that'll pull up more of the paint. You know, I could keep doing this for hours, all day I could do this. I better wrap it up, I guess. Because you're probably thinking, how many times can you print those flaming circles? Well, the answer is a heck of a lot. Yes, I can. Just go bounce from one idea to the next. Look at that. Now that's pretty cool. There's the ghost print from those circles on there. I love that. Absolutely love that. I can use that whole piece as the base of a collage and then add more textures and more papers over it. I can add some more spray inks to it, or I can add some more paint to it to fill in the white, but the white will become quite transparent. So I am more likely to put this on top of something like texture paper or text, book text, or musical notes, or something where you're going to see that texture coming through, but then you've got these beautiful shapes on top. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe next week we'll create collage with one of these papers. That's a cool idea. All right, I'm liking that idea. We're going to do that. see how these things start. There's still quite a bit of paint on there, but actually what I'd like to do is, I'm just going to do one more because I want to see how this looks. What's going to look good over that? Probably this color. Let's stick with this color, seeing as we've got it on the plate. Put a bit more bronze down. I'm going to use this for the background of the shapes. And I think that could look quite interesting. There's some ghost prints still there of the circles underneath. That might pull up, might not too, don't really know. I'm going to put a different line of the circles so that if the ghost print does pull up, you'll actually see it behind them. That'd be cool. Where's the other one gone? It is. Righto. And I'm going to put this on and see how that looks. As you can see, this piece of, I think it's tissue, white tissue, has had a couple of prints already. So I need to be a little bit more gentle and I don't stick my finger through it. All right, let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, that's pretty fun. So depending on what background you start with, it will leave that in the circle shapes. And you can also see some of the white alphabet. It was an alphabet stencil and you can see them behind that in the background, plus it comes through in the circle shapes. So if you've got prints that you've taken that you're not happy with, you kind of like the colors, but the design didn't work for whatever, you could try this idea, because some of that previous print will come through in the circle shapes and it could look absolutely fascinating. And let's face it, you got nothing to lose. So if you use prints you're not happy with anyway and it doesn't work, who cares? Doesn't matter, does it? Because you weren't happy with it anyway. But you might find incredible, amazing prints that you wouldn't have tried otherwise. So I'm hoping this ghost print will pull up a few of those different circle patterns that are now on the plate with my trusty white tissue. Give it a little rub, some encouragement to come off the plate. That'll be good. Yeah, that's good. Look at that. Don't you find that fascinating? I find that so fascinating that that's like a perfect outline print, and then that's more fully. I just love it. I just love it. I just love it. You can't reproduce these things in a fit if you tried. You can't do it again a second time. It's a mono print. It's one print, and I absolutely love that. I could use that section there in a collage on a page. You see why I'm obsessed with circles and they keep popping up in my artwork? Because I'll do a session of prints like this and make a whole heap and then continuously be using them. I just love it. Okay, so this was the very first print I took. It's it's dry. It's nice and dry. It's a little humid here today in New Zealand, but it's nice and dry. Now this was just normal standard copy paper. I put the paint down, I put the circle shapes on, and I took a print which creates this mask shape from the circles. Well, I know that's boring, but what we can do, so I've got one of these water brushes and it's just got water inside, which is pretty cool. Dollar Shop, hello, really cheap from the Dollar Shop. Now I'm going to just put some water on this shape. If you don't have one of these water brushes, don't stress out. Just get a normal watercolor paintbrush and dip it in water. I know, right? It's not rocket science. I've just got this, fancy pants one because it was like a couple of bucks at the Dollar Shop, which I might tend to frequent quite often. Looking for amazing new things to create marks on the gel plate. Now I've put some water on that shape. Now I'm going to drop in some ink and it won't always hold its form, I've noticed, and I am always a little heavy-handed. This is just a Liquitex acrylic ink. I like these inks. I use them all the time. I think they're fabulous. They're also easy for me to get. They're at the office. The stationery warehouse stationery. Oh, I always forget the name of it. So they're easy for me to get. 5-minute walk. Yes, I do kind of frequent that shop every day. It's 5 minutes, and you've got to walk each day. So, so just because I happen to walk in that direction. Okay, so I'm putting water on the circle shape, and then I'm dropping in the ink. Now, my theory is it should stay within the water, right? Now, that's only a theory, and it doesn't always work out that way. But it should stay within the water banks of that. Now, if you fiddle too much or you put in too much water, it'll break its boundary like here, but I'm okay with that. It does create beautiful organic marks like this. I love it. Again, it's highly experimental. It's really fun. This was the first one that I did like this. So my background was more of this coppery color, and then I put the water, took exactly the same print like that, and then put the water in. See how this actually kind of broke away from its circle. because I probably had too much water, and that was okay. But then I stamped it with the beautiful circle shape. Like you saw me do before, I stamped it with the bronze on top of there, and I think this is fabulous. So take the print, let it dry, fill it with water, drop in some ink. When that dries, you stamp it with some, I use the bronze, I'm loving it. And I think that's fabulous. I loved it, absolutely loved it. So that's what this is doing. So that is exactly how I created these ones here. So they're off this piece of paper. I tore them out and glued them onto this collage, and I really like them. I think that's a fabulous technique. So it's basically taking the print with the circle shapes, putting in the water, dropping in the ink, letting it every stage dry, and then printing, stamping with the bronze, and voila, absolutely fabulous. I love it. I think it's gorgeous, and it makes a fabulous element in the collage of my art journal. And so simple, so simple. You can do this. You'll probably do it better actually, because you know my circle shapes are blowing out on that one. Too much water or too much ink will do that, but don't let that stress you, because you know you can always fix it again. Put some more paint on it, or put a stamp on it, or stencil it, baby. It's endless what you can create with fabulous gelli printing. Right, so I think that I'll leave you to the rest of your day. You're probably sick of watching my circle shapes continuously. I'm going to print a few more, I'm pretty sure. And I think what we'll do next week is I'll show you how some of these pages have dried up. And let's use one of them in a collage. You know, we'll do something like this, put a collage together, maybe even in my art journal page, and I'll show you how I like to put them together, the thought processes of that. And yay, hope you enjoyed Sunday in the studio. I'm loving this myself, actually. I'm loving just creating, hanging out, hoping someone's listening to me. And if you're not, that's okay too, because I'm having a really good time. So join me again next week, and let's make some collage out of these beautiful, fabulous papers. Don't forget, you need to rush off to your plumbing supply section of the hardware and get yourself some Fixaloo washers. I'm telling you, they are absolutely fabulous. You get 10 in a pack. I mean, for a few bucks, baby, you can't go wrong. So if you like this video, show me the love, thumbs up, give me some likes, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. You know the drill, and I'll see you again next time.